carbohydrates and weight loss or body recomposition Q&A. In today's video, I'm gonna answer the top 10 questions I get about carbohydrates when it comes to weight loss, fat loss, or achieving a body recomposition. There is a lot of misinformation and misunderstanding, but don't worry, this video is going to be your one-stop shop for all things you need to know about carbohydrates and their role in your weight loss or body recomposition journey. So let's get right into it, but of course, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that bell so you get a notification when I release a new video just like this one every single week. My name is Michelle Roots, kinesiologist, personal trainer, and nutrition coach with over 18 years experience in the industry, helping people increase lean muscle and decrease body fat to become the strongest, leanest, healthiest versions of themselves. And I created this channel because I want to help you as well. So let's get right into it. I'm going to give you the top 10 questions I get when it comes to carbohydrates and weight loss or body recomposition results. Now, disclaimer, I'm just going to provide you the information based on research as well as results with my own body, as well as results with my online and in-person personal training clients. Then you will have all the information to make an educated decision on your personal journey and carb consumption to reach your personal goals. Let's get right into the top 10 questions. Question number 1. Are carbs bad for weight loss? Now, I want to start by saying carbs get a really bad rap, and I'm not sure where this started or how this started, but carbohydrates are one of the 3 main macronutrients our bodies need for essential nutrition. Carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. Carbohydrates are one of the main energy sources for our body, especially our muscles and our brain. So I think labeling them as bad for weight loss is kind of a extreme phase, because in the end, it does come down to each individual body and each individual journey. So there's a few things to consider here when we determine whether carbs are bad for weight loss. 1, caloric balance. So meaning, if you are eating in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight. Weight loss essentially comes down to eating fewer calories than you burn. So what I talk about a lot on this channel is eating in a calorie deficit. So you are eating less calories, burning more calories with the hopes of losing weight. Now, realistically, no matter where those calories come from, if you are eating in a calorie deficit, you will still lose weight. But determining how you feel and how your body functions in this calorie deficit, that's where a focus on macronutrients and high quality foods comes into play. So of course, consuming carbohydrates are calories, which are put towards your daily calorie goal. So if you are consuming too much carbohydrates and you go over your calorie deficit, yes, that will hinder your weight loss results. But in the end, when it comes to weight loss, again, it does not matter if you are eating all carbohydrates or no carbohydrates. If you are still not eating in a calorie deficit, weight loss will not happen. And the last thing to consider is nutrient density. So unprocessed, complex carbohydrates are often loaded with vitamins, minerals, fiber in order to keep you feeling full and keep your body energized. So this is where it comes down to the quality of the carbohydrates you're consuming. So if you're constantly consuming packaged processed carbohydrates with added sugars, this could then lead to weight gain. So to answer question number 1, are carbs bad for fat loss? No, they are not. We should not be scared of carbohydrates. Question number 2, how much carbs should I eat per day for fat loss? The actual number of carbs per day for weight loss for each individual is specific to age, gender, activity level, and individual metabolism, because of course we are all built differently, we all move different amounts during the day. But a general recommendation I like to start people on is 40 to 50% of your calories each day from carbohydrates, 25 to 35% of your calories each day from protein, and then 20 to 30% of your calories per day for fats. If you're looking for more information on specific macronutrient splits for a body recomposition, I have a video right here talking all about that. I'll link that in the description below if you want to go check that out next. My best advice is to start with those numbers and put them into play with the focus on whole, nutrient-dense, fiber-rich carbohydrates, and then just see how your body feels, how your energy levels are, what kind of results are you getting, and then you can adjust things as you go. Question number 3, what's the difference between simple carbs and complex carbs? Simple carbohydrates are those found in sugary snacks and processed foods like granola bars, protein bars, candy, basically anything that comes in a package. They are quickly digested by the body and can cause spikes in your blood sugar levels. A lot of times, When people eat something, very highly processed or high in sugar, those carbohydrates are quickly digested by your body. And not only are you hungry, usually within an hour, you might experience cravings for more sugar. And then also they don't necessarily fuel your body the way that you want them to. So these are more of the carbohydrates you want to avoid. Whereas complex carbohydrates are found in foods like whole grains, fruits, and vegetables. They're very high in fiber, which takes your body longer to digest, which will keep you feeling full for longer, reduce cravings, and give you more sustained energy for a longer period of time than the simple carbs. So again, when we are looking at overall carbohydrates, there are different types of carbohydrates, and of course we want to focus on complex carbohydrates for the reason I just said. Now with that being said, before we move on to the next question, just like every other video, I talk about that 80-20 rule. So I'm talking about the 80%. It doesn't mean that you are never allowed to have simple carbs. It just means that if you're focusing your carbohydrate intake from simple carbs, it's not necessarily going to help you reach your weight loss or body recomposition goals. 80% of the time you are consuming high fiber, quality, complex carbohydrates. 20% of the time, if it's a protein bar while you're on the run, if it's a mid-afternoon cookie, it is what it is. That 20% is fine on a regular basis. You want to make sure the majority of your carbohydrates are coming from complex carbs. I just want to take a minute to thank today's video sponsor, Element, one of my go-tos for replenishing my electrolytes after sweaty workouts. Electrolytes are so important for so many functions in the body, including hormonal regulation, nutrient absorption, and fluid balance. Sometimes water just isn't enough, and Element has the perfect balance of 1,000 milligrams of sodium, 200 milligrams of potassium, and 60 milligrams of magnesium. Element can help prevent and eliminate headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, sleeplessness, and other common symptoms of electrolyte deficiency. Right now, Element is offering my listeners a free sample pack with any order. That's 8 single serving packets free with any Element order. Get yours at drinkelement.com/Michelle. This offer is only available through my link. Go to drinklmnt.com/Michelle. Question number 4, do low carb diets work for weight loss? Simply put, yes, because when you're cutting out an entire food group, it's much easier to stay in your calorie deficit when you're just focusing on proteins and fats. So yes, it will be easier to reduce overall calorie intake. However, with that being said, adherence to a low carb diet is much more difficult for a long period of time. So this is going to depend on each individual, how you feel energy-wise, what kind of results you're getting, are you able to push in the gym? Each specific individual, when you're cutting out carbs or eating very, very, very low carbs, is this sustainable for you for a very long time? Some people can do it and have no problem cutting out carbs altogether. Some people do it just to lose weight because they think it's the be all and end all. Well, in order to lose weight, I'm just gonna stop eating carbs. But they're not able to stick to it and they feel like they're on a diet, which in turn, yeah, it might result in weight loss, but is it gonna stay off? Because if you're constantly almost struggling and fighting to not eat carbohydrates, eventually you're gonna break and you're gonna eat carbohydrates and there's no long-term plan in place. I guess the simple answer to the question, do low carb diets work for weight loss? Yes. Will they work for a body recomposition when you're trying to really push hard, apply progressive overload, lift heavy weights, get stronger? Again, depends on each individual and your ability to adhere to the plan and how you feel on a low carb diet. But I guess my main takeaway from answering this question is yes, it can work, but it's not the only way to work. So if you are currently on a weight loss journey and you are like, okay, on Monday, I'm starting my diet and I'm just gonna cut out carbs completely, no sugar, no carbohydrates, and there's no real plan in place, just know that that's not the only way to lose weight. There are so many other ways to approach a diet or a fat loss phase without having to cut out entire food groups. Think long-term sustainability as well as building a healthy relationship with food. When you are immediately saying that one specific food group is bad, including vegetables and fruits, which are loaded with vitamins and loaded with micronutrients, you're almost forming a bad relationship with food, which in turn, in the big picture, is not gonna help you sustain your weight loss or fat loss. Just my personal opinion, but again, this really does come down to each individual. And this brings us to question number 5. Can I eat carbs and still lose weight? 100% yes. Again, I will reiterate, eating in a calorie deficit will result in weight loss. No matter what those calories are coming from, if you are eating less and burning more, you will lose weight. Carbohydrates should be part of a balanced diet plan. Proteins, carbs, fats. With the focus on whole, unprocessed, complex carbohydrates that are high in fiber 80% of the time, in order to fuel your body with what it needs to push through your workout and just feel good. Oftentimes people struggle to lose weight because they're either think they're eating in a calorie deficit and they're not 100% accurate in tracking their calories. So they might not actually be in a calorie deficit and they just blame it on the carbs. It might be that you're overall consuming more calories than you think you are. Maybe you're not moving enough, or you're overestimating your calories burned through exercise. And I think a lot of times when we're not getting the results we want, either we're not being patient enough. I have many videos on my channel already. I'll link them in the description below. You know, if you're not getting the results, you're not feeling good in the gym, you're not seeing any budge in the scale, immediately people just think I need to cut out carbs. Carbs are evil. That's the one. That's why I'm not seeing results, and it's not true. Question number 6, should I avoid carbs after a certain time of day? So a lot of people, there's this, I don't know where it started, but no carbs after dinner or no carbs at dinner. You shouldn't be consuming carbs at night. So I'll just say no, straight up no. There's no need to avoid carbohydrate intake before bed. Now, of course, consuming simple carbohydrates, a lot of them before bed that are high in sugar and processed, could affect your sleep, which in turn, if you're not sleeping well, could affect your workout the next day, which could affect your food choices the next day, which could affect your overall weight loss results if you're doing that every night. If you're having a big bowl of ice cream and you're eating chocolate bars or whatever it is, if their carbohydrates are coming from those sources, yeah, I would say probably not the best idea. But 20% of the time, once a week, not the end of the world. In the end, your overall calorie intake, protein intake, carbohydrate intake, and fat intake throughout the entire day is what matters more than what time of day you eat each specific macronutrient. Number 7, does eating carbohydrates make you gain belly fat? Now again, this comes down to where are you getting your carbohydrates from? If you're constantly consuming simple processed carbohydrates that are high in sugar and chemicals and you live a very sedentary lifestyle, then yes, this could cause weight gain as well as excess belly fat. But if you're someone who exercises regularly, sleeps well, drinks your water, and gets your carbohydrates from those complex carbs, fruits, vegetables, and whole grains that are high in fiber, this should not cause excess belly fat. Again, unless you are eating in a calorie surplus and you are eating too much carbs versus your proteins and your fats, that's where it could cause excess belly fat. But again, that comes down to your calorie deficit. It's not because of the carbohydrates specifically. Question number 8, do carbs cause cravings or a desire to overeat? Now again, like I was saying, if you're getting your carbohydrates mainly from simple, high in sugar processed carbohydrates, could cause spikes and crashes in your blood sugar, which could cause increased cravings for more sugar or the desire to overeat because they are not keeping you feeling full for a longer period of time. You're gonna be hungry. Every hour, you're gonna want more. Every hour, you're gonna want more because you don't get that feeling of fullness from the simple carbohydrates. Now, if you're getting your carbs from complex, high fiber, unprocessed carbohydrates like I've been talking about in this video, they are gonna help you have that feeling of fullness, and it's going to help sustain your energy levels, sustain your blood sugar levels so there won't be any spikes and crashes. In turn, that should actually reduce cravings and reduce the desire to overeat because you're going to be feeling full. Question number 9. Does consuming carbs hinder the amount of fat burned during your workouts? Carbs are the body's primary source of fuel during high intensity exercise. So therefore, eating carbs before a workout will help increase your glycogen stores and increase your ability to push harder and overall optimal performance in your workout based on science. But again, everybody's response to carbohydrates is different. So I think this goes down to a personal preference. But to answer the main question, no, eating carbohydrates before your workout will not increase fat burning during your workout. Let's look at what you're doing in your workouts and what the goal is for that specific workout. If you are strength training, the goal is not to burn as many calories as you can. The goal is not to burn more fat. In your strength training workouts where you are doing bicep curls, chest press, squats, deadlifts, the goal of that workout is to get stronger to build lean muscle. Because in turn, building more lean muscle is going to help decrease body fat. It's going to increase your metabolism. It's going to help you be stronger. Eating carbohydrates before a strength workout is going to help you push harder. It's going to increase the glycogen stores in your muscles so that you are able to apply progressive overload and to continue to increase your weights in the gym, in turn, and continue to get stronger. Now, when we look at cardio workouts, whether you're doing cardio first thing in the morning, you're doing high intensity interval training, whether you're going for a walk, whether you're going and doing a spin class, whether you want to work out fasted or whether you want to work out with a solid breakfast in you, it's not going to affect your body's ability to burn fat. And I think it comes down to each individual. What I usually tell people is, okay, so you work out fasted in the mornings. How do you feel about halfway through your workout, about 45 minutes in? I kind of start to get gassed and I can't really push anymore. Okay, so maybe you need to eat more carbohydrates at night. If you still don't want to eat in the morning before your workout, maybe you need more carbohydrates before you go to bed to increase those fuel stores. The last thing you want to do is not fuel your body properly because you think it's going to be better for fat loss, but then you're not able to really push in the gym and to really perform and continue to challenge yourself because you don't have enough fuel or you're starting to feel gassed or you lose your adrenaline about halfway through your workout. So I guess a simple answer to that question, do carbs hinder fat loss during exercise? No, they don't. And question number 10, last but not least, does carb cycling help with weight loss? Carb cycling is basically a flow throughout the week where you're eating high carb days and lower carb days. And again, depending on each individual and what your schedule looks like, what your training schedule looks like, some people might find that carb cycling really works for them and helps them perform in the gym and helps them on their weight loss journey, but it is not the be all and end all. I've had many people ask me about carb cycling, but one is what I always tell people is if you haven't tracked calories before, you haven't tracked macros, and you're just kind of starting your journey, I always say keep carb cycling as a tool in your toolbox. Before you do anything like that, you want to make sure you master the basics. So calculate your calorie deficit, start eating in a calorie deficit if your goal is weight loss, or if your goal is body recomposition, you want to eat closer to maintenance or just in a slight calorie deficit, again, depending on each individual. Make sure you calculate those numbers, how much protein you should be eating, how many carbs, how many fats, and just start tracking. Start drinking your water, hitting a daily step count, get your workouts in, focus on strength training, eat fruits and vegetables, complex carbohydrates, and start to master those basic healthy habits first. Do not jump right into something like carb cycling because I think maintaining consistent calorie deficit over a long period of time and hitting your protein goals and hitting your macros is going to help you in the long run versus doing something like carb cycling. But if you've done this for a very long time and you've been hitting everything 100% and you've mastered those basic healthy habits, then maybe you can pull that out of your toolbox and you can start playing around with high and low carb days based around your training schedule. But is it the be all and end all for weight loss? Absolutely not. So there you go, guys. The top 10 questions I get about carbohydrates when it comes to weight loss, fat loss, or body recomposition. As always, I hope this video was helpful. I did a video just like this one all about protein. So protein Q&A, top questions I get about protein. I'll link that in the description below if you want to go watch that next. And of course, if you have a specific question about carbohydrates that I didn't touch base on in this video, feel free to leave it in the comments and I will answer it there so we can start a little thread. Any questions that weren't answered in the video, we'll have a thread where I'll be answering your questions in the comments as well to make this your one-stop shop for everything you need to know about carbohydrates when it comes to weight loss or body recomposition. If you need more help with nutrition or your workouts, I'll also leave a link in the description below to learn more about my online one-on-one fitness and nutrition coaching program. And as always, thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next one.